Hey guys, Peter here, and if you're worried about the coronavirus or if you've had any anxiety or stress about what's being put out there right now, you need to watch this video because by the end of it, I can promise you, you're going to be a lot calmer. Now, I don't normally weigh in on stuff like this, but the amount of craziness and hysteria that's out there, I feel I have to be able to bring something to the table to be able to help you guys. So please listen up, because my students right now are laughing literally at the hilarity of the response that most of the public are out there. And honestly, if it wasn't so, tragic, I'd probably be laughing with them, because, to run out and do panic buying and barricading yourself in and, stocking up on all this kind of crap, it's unbelievable when you realize that fear doesn't actually come from the facts. It comes from the story you're telling yourself about what you think the facts are. And unfortunately, most people right now are making two intellectually dumb mistakes. The first one is confusing popularity for truth. Right? And that's getting caught up in an energetic pattern called an egregore. And when you understand the patterns that these things follow, they become predictable, which is why at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you what my prediction is on how this corona thing is going to play out over the next 30 to 45 days. I mean, where are we now? March 12th on the day I'm recording this. So you'll be able to see historically how I do on that. Now, the other mistake most people make is that they confuse method of delivery for authority. In other words, they believe what the media tell them. Now, I've put videos out for years on why you shouldn't watch the media, but let me just address what's going on right now for those that still do, which happens to be most of the population by the sound of it. And that is this: the media's job is not to report the news or the facts. If you think that, you are in Disneyland. No, the media's job is to stimulate a part of the human brain called the amygdala, which is designed evolutionarily to notice negative before positive, which is why you can be dozing off driving, but always notice the brake lights that bring you out of that sort of doze in front of you, because it registers as danger with the amygdala. So if they can do that, then they can hook you out of the massive people and information that's trying to get your attention each day into becoming a viewer, which is a rate card statistic to justify advertising. They're not a charity, guys. And normally they spend very large amounts of money hiring very smart people from Madison Avenue or Harvard to be able to figure out how to hook your attention. And guess what? The coronavirus comes along and it is a goldmine, because now it does it for them. And they're caught up in that wave of induced panic. But do you know what the real virus is, guys, as you're about to find out? When I share with you the stats, the real virus isn't corona. The real virus is actually panic. The real virus is fear. It's doing way more harm to way more immune systems. It's spreading far faster than any contagion. You understand that you're being played right now. It is not in your best interests to listen or watch the media right now because of what they're trying to do with you. So let's look at the actual facts. In Britain today, there are about 400 confirmed cases, or thereabouts, which is 1,000th of 1% of the population. In America, it's 3/10,000ths of 1% of the population currently confirmed. And the recovery rate on this thing is through the roof. All you need is a healthy immune system, which you need against virtually anything, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid if this thing popped up. In fact, here, one of the things that I take every single morning is a ginger shot with turmeric. I've got videos on my YouTube channel on how I make these, drink them every morning. Ultimate health insurance, great start to the day, call it the healthy espresso, to mimic one of my good friends, Jason Vale. And I start the day with that. And you know something? Never had a cold, never get flu. And if the coronavirus was stupid enough and had the audacity to want to come and have a pop at my immune system, well, we'll see what happens. Now, next thing, we look at the actual figures of some facts around what people should be worried about but aren't informed about, because it doesn't, it's not newsworthy. It doesn't hook you as much. And that is, let's take the flu. Now, the Center for Disease Control's own figures state that just this season in the US, 10 to 25,000 people have been killed, killed by flu. Another 150,000 plus have been hospitalized, and nearly 18 million people have been affected negatively. But nobody bats an eyelid on that. It's not reported in the media or focused on or given much airtime. Why? Nobody cares. We've been desensitized to it. So therefore, it's not a story they want to run, even though it is orders of magnitude more impactful, more harmful, more serious than corona. Right? Are you kidding me? Let's take bird flu as another example. Again, all of these things follow the same deal. AIDS, bird flu, swine flu, Ebola, corona, same deal. None of the pandemics actually pan out. The media's job right now is to try to induce a pandemic, not just on fear, but they're hoping the virus will go. It's like, please be a pandemic, please, so we can have some more ammunition to be able to throw on the front pages to terrorize people with, right? Doesn't happen, not going to happen, right? Deal with it. You go to bird flu. What happened with bird flu? Do you know how many people that killed? Over 6 years, it killed 600 people. There's more people dying of flu right now watching this video than bird flu killed in its entire existence, but the government still spent millions, actually billions of dollars on being able to try to prevent that or contain it or do something. All complete BS, over-engineered, knee-jerk public opinion reaction to try to do what they think is required so they can't be lambasted afterwards for doing the wrong thing. It's just a pattern. It's predictable. So speaking of predictions, let me share with you what my prediction is for how this is going to play out over the next 30 to 45 days. See, during that time, this thing is going to hit its stride in the amount of fear, uncertainty, and panic that the media can actually squeeze out of the public. As this thing kind of like grows out and then doesn't really stack up to what it's all the predictions said it could be. Now, at that point, the public are going to start turning a corner and getting resentful of the media for continually bringing this in. In fact, some of you are probably already sick of the word corona right now, but that's going to play out over the next sort of month and a half. And at that point, the media will have to shift tack. That may likely just happen to coincide with some new vaccine or preventative or immune booster that some pharmaceutical drug company just happens to have been able to bring to the market as the savior of the human race. And that will then guilt trip or pressure through public opinion or political opinion governments into spending billions of dollars on stockpiling this vaccine, and then try to guilt trip the public into actually wanting to be injected by it. So at that point, what else is going to happen? Well, something you probably won't know, because about a year to 2 years later, the government are going to spend millions more dollars and pounds of taxpayers' money destroying 90% of that vaccine that they didn't use because there wasn't a pandemic, and it's now out of date, which is exactly what happened with Tamiflu. Again, in reaction to the whole egregore that happened there. So, guys, when you know that you have the ability to walk amongst them but not be affected by them. As I say, all my students right now are calm, they're laughing, they're having normal lives. Everybody else is running around thinking it's the end of the world. Start being the star of your own movie. That's what my work is about. It's being able to hold up a mirror to remind you of your own greatness. Because historically, the masses have been controlled through two things. One is fear, and the other is absolving them of personal responsibility. In other words, allowing them to blame. Oh, it's not my fault, it's some virus, invisible microbe out there that's killing everybody. No. You see, when you start to blame, you take away all of your personal power for being able to be responsible for changing your life or circumstances. And that historically, if you do your research, is how always the mass populace has been controlled. The media just happen to help engineer that right now on a much bigger scale. So, right now, don't make the intellectually dumb mistake of confusing popularity for truth. Don't make the even bigger mistake of confusing method of delivery of information for authority on that information. Look at what the facts are, look historically over time what has happened on stuff like this, and I promise you, you'll be able to lower your fear rate, lower your cortisol. You've got more chance of being struck by lightning than being infected or being killed by the coronavirus. And go about your business, smile, spread love, don't compromise your immune system by getting into a state of fear, and I promise you this thing will blow over before you know it. I'll speak to you soon.